Ohio, we're the people that we should be. It's a good illustration, isn't it? And let me say to you, at times, obeying God does not involve feelings. Verse 2, by this we know that we love the children of God when we love God and keep His commandments. Let's go on to verse 3 now. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not burdensome. This is very important. The false teachers in the days of Christ, they did this. For they bind heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. Allow me to read it again. Matthew chapter 23, verse 4. These are the Pharisees and the Sadducees. What do they do? For they bind heavy burdens, hard to bear. You talk to some people about the religious commitments that they're trying to keep, and they are exhausted trying to keep them. I had a lady tell me that. At the hospital, the fourth floor, I won't mention the name. She says, I'm just worn out. For they bind heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on men's shoulders. They themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. Matthew 23, verse 4. Who speaks this? Jesus. Note in contrast, Jesus says this as well in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. I love this verse through verse 30. Look what Jesus says now about Himself. Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart. You will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. What a beautiful statement. Amen. Amen. We find rest for our souls in the person of Jesus Christ. Why? Because everything that you're trying to do to gain salvation by works cannot be done. It's done for us. We receive the gift by faith. And that, my friend, is the difference between truth and error right there. Amen. Always a burden. Verse 4. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. A couple months back I was, let's see. Let me go back up where it says, and His commandments are not burdensome, the last part of verse 3. Reading again out of verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not burdensome. You want a real burden? Break God's commandments. I like the expression. You really don't break God's commandments, you just break yourself on them. People disobey God, whether ignorantly or high-handedly, and they get enslaved and addicted. A couple months back, I was at the mission, and here's a young man, probably in his 20s, and he was vomiting on himself in the front row during the message. Now that's a burden. And these people are there so addicted. But let me say this, that's obvious addiction. There are addictions that people are involved in, and I mean self-centeredness. It could be arrogance, it could be a false doctrine, it could be a host of things that are not so evident as that obvious evidence displayed physically. Let me say to you, you want burden? You want heartache? You want dismay? Disobey God. Not agreement, amen? Christ says, my commandments are not burdensome. When you learn to forgive, it frees. When you learn to love, it frees. When you learn to be kind, it's free. When you learn to be gentle, it is freeing. Amen. My commandments are not burdensome. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Let me say to you, the thing that you want to get out of verse 4, and we're out of time here, is this. He's not talking about the overcoming person. This is not about the victorious person, verse 4. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. He's talking about the victorious power that you have as a result of your birth. And because of that, you overcome. It's not that, look what I overcame. That's not it. Beloved, always remember this is very important. We don't work toward victory. We work from victory. You get it? There's a big difference. We don't strive to overcome. We have overcome, and therefore we're working out that victory. The birth brings the victory, then we overcome. The victory is the effect that causes the birth. It's the power because of the birth that overcomes. That's what he's referring to. Emphasis is not on the person, not what he says. For whatever is born of God, what's the result? Overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Our faith brings us into the promises. We have the promises because of the birth. We have the power because of the birth. Our responsibility is to believe. When God says I can do, when God says to us, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, it's our responsibility to say, I believe. God does not disconnect us from our responsibility. Who is he who overcomes the world but he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? To overcome, you must be obedient. The new birth is a supernatural event that takes us out of the sphere of the devil and the world into the family of God. The faith that overcomes the world is faith in Jesus Christ as the Son of God. That faith expresses itself in obedience to God. We don't sit on our laurels. In John 16, verse 33, it says, these things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you'll have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. Amen? John 16, 33. And then you have the grand verse in verse 4 there where it says, whatever is born of that overcomes. Let me say that the world can get you down. It's constantly working against you. Whether it be your genetic propensity, which we all have, that are passed through the genes. Personalities. I truly believe that. And it reflects itself in our behavior. But you're not cast into that. Because we have the power of the new birth over that. But it'll tell you. You want to know about who you are? Watch your mom. You want to know about what you're about? Look at your dad. Because those genes, that's where they came from. When you hear yourself saying, I've become my mother. I've become my father. Well, rightly so. By the way, University of Utah Research Park, I was talking to a lady that was in June doing genetic studies, and this is an area that they're getting into and realizing how profound it is, how genes pass personality propensities. I thought they learned them. They're just a wide open book. No, they have propensities. My little boy Daniel liked to play with fire when he was small. My wife Cindy, at that time, she liked to play with fire when she was small. Now, when she grew up, she didn't play with fire anymore because you might have that propensity, but you mature, you grow, and you control it. It's probably always there, but you learn to control it. Little Daniel never saw his mother set a field on fire, but little Daniel set a field on fire. Why? Because he's playing the matches, by the way, with the volunteer fire chief's son. Baptist minister's son, fire chief's son, they set the whole reservoir on fire. True story. I'm in my study and I hear the fire coming down the road and got to the hospital and afterwards and don't worry about it. It was a good exercise for us. True story. Propensities are passed through the genes. Now, but you overcome because of birth. You have another birth, the second birth, the Spirit of God. And that can bring us in control. You're not enslaved to it. We can overcome. So in summary, beloved, our faith, our love, and our obedience are the marks of our birth. Everything that I've just said can be summarized in this one sentence. The new birth will bring faith, love, and obedience. There it is. The new birth will bring faith, love, and obedience. Amen to that. During the terrible Boxer Rebellion in China, the insurgents captured a mission station. They blocked all the gates but one. And before this one door, they placed a cross on the ground. Then the insurgents, this was a mission compound, the word was passed to those inside the chapel that any who trampled the cross underfoot and would come out, as they would come out, would trample underfoot the cross that had been laid there, and the only now exit would be permitted their freedom and their life. Any refusing would be shot. Terribly frightened, and these are young students. The first 7 students walked on top of the cross, trampled it underfoot. They were allowed to go free. The 8th student, a young girl, number 8, refused to commit such sacrilege. She bowed down, prayed for strength, rose up, moved around the cross without stepping on it, and was shot as she came out. Her example set the stage for 92 other students to be shot in a similar fashion. True story. They would not walk on the cross. They would not trample it underfoot. Now, how did they have such overcoming power and faith in such a great crisis? Because of the new birth. This is a dynamic illustration. Beloved, let me say to you, the new birth will bring faith, love, and obedience. And the beauty of it is, all given to us by faith. Let's pray together.